Unscripted.
You know, it's so funny because back in the day, before, you know, we got the launch of these consoles, the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, respectively, I questioned even the validity of needing to own or a reason to own an Xbox Series X, and was told unequivocally by a large number of people that the Xbox Series X would always have the best multiplats. Multiplats would play best on the Xbox Series X, and you know, I feel like that's been a complete letdown in terms of what we've gotten games on, and for me personally, like you know, because I was looking for something to play on the Xbox Series X, and I figured, well, you know what, Dirt 5, Assassin's Creed, you know, those would be good games to play on the Series X. You know, Microsoft has marketing rights with those games. Xbox Series X, it's all powerful. You know, Microsoft is kind of touting their own platform, saying how great it is and how it's the best place to play all these games. And then when you see the actual comparisons and things like that, you kind of start to question it, right? You're like, well, what's going on? Because now Digital Foundry has pretty much debunked that entire thought process. And the funny thing is it's not even a situation where, you know, where we're going to see sort of a difference between the two that's not noticeable or something like that. Like, there's been some noticeable differences in favor of the PlayStation 5, and that's pretty incredible to me, because we kept hearing about how the PlayStation 5 was, you know, 9 teraflops, or, you know, how it had to be, you know, it has to be variable frequencies, and that was going to hurt it, and it couldn't do what this Series X does, and, you know, compute units. And we kept hearing all these different excuses, and the excuses continue, mind you. You know, now we hear about the tools and dev kits and all this kind of stuff, a bunch of nonsense. But you know, as if the PlayStation 5 dev kits just stop and they're not going to get better as well. So it's kind of funny to me that people are still holding out this hope that, you know, somehow these dev kits and these tools are going to get updated to where we're going to see these 40 to 50 frame differences and all this kind of stuff. You probably all know the people who were running with that kind of nonsense, saying that everything was going to be better on the Xbox Series X. People claiming that the Xbox Series X is getting the PlayStation 5 version of games, despite the fact that they're running worse than the PlayStation 5 versions. Sort of ridiculous, to say the least. But, you know, again, you have Digital Foundry basically completely destroying the Xbox Series X and basically any reason to own an Xbox Series X at this point. I understand that, you know, everybody buys these things for different reasons and stuff like that, but man, this is just absolutely brutal when you see it. You know, it's just absolutely incredible to sort of see this happen. And at the same time, I think that, you know, it really should kind of help people to understand that a lot of these people that are making all these assumptions don't know what the hell they're talking about, right? If there's people out there that were claiming that this was going to happen and this is going to happen, and it hasn't happened, maybe it's time to get off the soapbox. It's time to get off the fanboy side of things a little bit, because those people are what you consider like Monday morning quarterbacks. You know, Monday morning quarterbacks. They don't really know what the hell they're talking about. They have design games. They don't have any clue about what they're doing. They're just out there trying to make certain people feel better about their product that they bought. You know, again, it's a vicious cycle for Xbox fans. You know, you get excited for something, then you get let down, then you get told to wait. Then you get excited for something, then you get let down, and you get told to wait. It's this continuing cycle of Xbox, and it's kind of ridiculous. But I want to get into it, so we might as well get started now. What's up, everybody? Crapgamer here with Crapgamer Reviews. Back with another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I really do appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. It helps out the channel, and it means a lot to me personally. And if you wouldn't mind, you know, take a minute to consider subscribing and things like that. It would be great. You know, there's no channel without you guys, so shout out to all the old subscribers, new subscribers, and everybody in between. You're fantastic folks, and I really do appreciate you, each and every one of you. Believe that, trust me. With that being said, there is another one that we have, and what's up with the disappointing performance on the Xbox Series X overall when it comes to these multi-platform games? Just absolutely incredible to see, you know, all this stuff happening to supposedly the quote-unquote best next-gen console, the most powerful next-gen console. You know, we keep hearing about all this stuff, and, you know, at the end of the day, it just isn't very impressive, to say the least. You know, it's just one of those things that honestly kind of makes you feel a little bit bad for people that maybe bought that for people that actually make, they bought one specifically for that third-party stuff. They're like, I don't care what anybody says, I'm gonna get it and play the best third-party multiplats. Like, that to me is the one that I feel the most sorry for, because they were misinformed and probably bought into their own BS. And at the end of the day, I feel like that's probably just a bad situation, and hopefully that can kind of get worked out sooner rather than later. But yeah, just awful to see sort of what we've been seeing from the Xbox Series X in general, and it's just kind of bad. But with that being said, we have another situation where Digital Foundry did Dirt 5. What's the difference between those two games? Okay, so far, if you're keeping track, Call of Duty, Devil May Cry 5, the remake or remaster, whatever it is, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Watch Dogs, Legions, all have better things on the PlayStation 5, better versions on the PlayStation 5. Some range from minor things to maybe one mode, but most of them have significant better performance overall on the PlayStation 5, which again wasn't really supposed to happen. So that's funny to me. Anyway, again, this is just a very weird kind of situation, to be honest with you. So honestly, just to be able to see the difference in this is just a little bit staggering, or whatever, just how this sort of comes about. But again, all of this only touches the surface of Dirt 5's ambition as a multi-platform release on 4 Xbox machines, 3 PlayStation machines, and a multitude of PC configuration. That's a staggering amount to cover. It's all leveraging next-gen powers in different ways and things like that, which is very interesting, to say the least. You wouldn't really expect that the that the PlayStation 5 version would be able to outdo the Xbox Series X version, but here it is. And not only that, but you have the Xbox Series S version dropping down incredibly low into even I think 600 something p. So that's very damning as well. Like, why are we seeing such low resolutions for a quote-unquote next-gen console? So that's something to kind of keep in mind as well, just because that's something that realistically people are going to have that console. So it is a little bit strange to see that. So the image quality mode also runs at a dynamic 4K picture with a 60 frames per second target. And the difference is that the focus isn't on proven resolution per se, but rather in-game settings. Amongst the differences we see, there's a high-quality shadows, improved texture filtering, and an improved level of crowd density around the circuits. There are possibly more tweaks to factor in, like the LODs, but the most obvious upgrade here is the shadow upgrade in terms of resolution. Image quality mode hits a native 2160 easily, which actually, however, gets you into a big pack of 12 cards. And again, the resolution drops to about 1800p. Again, this is extreme and may shift with their final code. The good news is that the performance looks good even in the non-final state, as both image quality and frame rate modes lock for the most part at 60 FPS. Perhaps the most exciting twist is the 120 Hz mode, which only becomes visible if the console front end has this refresh rate selected. If you're using HDMI 2.1 display, you can retrain your 4K signal output, while existing HDMI 2.1 screens that do support 120 Hz drop it down to 1080p or 1440p depending on the specification. And now at this point, it's worth noting that the Xbox Series X will continue to render internally at the same resolution as if you were connected to a 4K screen. The display controller will simply downscale the image before sending it out to your screen. So that's very interesting, to say the least. Like, I was able to play Dirt 5 on my Xbox Series X at 120 hertz, and it plays smooth. But just seeing, because I'm going to review the game, and so I requested that version. And so it's just, for me, maybe had I known what I know now, I would have requested the PlayStation 5 version, because it looks like the PlayStation 5 is getting the best versions pretty much across the board, and it's very interesting, to say the least. to be able to see this sort of happening. So when you do the frame rate and performance mode, it's just funny to me that to see something like, okay, so the Series S, for example, as low as 570p detail level on PS5 is significantly higher than both Xbox versions in this mode. So again, just what's the deal with the difference in in the quality between these games? I just feel like it's very significant and kind of a little bit shocking, to say the least. Hopefully they can get this kind of fixed before too long. But yeah, very, very, very interesting, to say the least. And again, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this kind of all works out at the end of the day, and like going into next year, and with patches and updates and tools and more tools, because everybody keeps saying the tools need to be fixed. The tools need to be fixed. I don't really buy into that as much as the fact that I think maybe on the Microsoft side, you have a little bit too many things to create for. You have Xbox One, Xbox One S, Xbox One X, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, and all these PC and cloud streaming. You need all this stuff. I think maybe it could be a little bit difficult for developers to actually do anything with. So hopefully we'll see some changes in the future, and I really do appreciate everybody coming out, watching another one of my videos. Please have a fantastic day, and I will link all of this in the description so you can check it out and let me know what you think. Stay safe, happy, and healthy. Game on, my friends. Game on. Rack 'em up. Crapgamer out.
Unscripted.